We've got Hakeem Lucky, former Syracuse lacrosse player, now playing for the Jamaica national team. And we've got Evan Redwood, legendary Amherst alum. It's hard for me as a Wesleyan guy, but we're gonna make our best.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for having us.
So, I mean, tell us a little bit about what it's been like to build. I mean, obviously, there's been a lot of lacrosse work going on in Jamaica, but this is a little bit different because this is the men's national team. What's it been like to be a part of that process, and how has that kind of come together?
Sure. Hopefully you can hear me okay. A lot of this started coming together a year and a half, 2 years ago. A guy by the name of Kevin Dugan, who's as you mentioned, he's on the ground in Jamaica helping with a lot of the clinics. And from there, he reached out to a couple heritage players, and like myself, Hakeem, we actually reached out to him to see how we could get involved. And it's just been a snowball effect. We've had sponsors come out of the woodwork.
That's great.
We've had other players come out of the woodwork. Obviously to be able to bring a guy like Hakeem and players like him is pretty huge.
That's cool.
Yeah, there's a lot of behind the scenes work. Obviously, to get the ball rolling and get the team to Israel, which is good. It's a good experience for the guys in terms of fundraising events that we're putting together. Try to get drum up the funds to make sure that everyone can go over there and compete. But we're excited. I mean, it's been a grind, but we're getting after it, and we're going to make sure we can go compete.
That's excellent. I saw kind of a portion of the team, a lot of the heritage guys playing the International Lacrosse Showdown, the Final Four last year. It seems like, guys are into it and really care and passionate. As kind of a heritage player, I don't know how much time you've actually spent in Jamaica or growing up there, but has this kind of changed your perspective on your relationship to the country and maybe what you'll do in the future with your life about giving back and getting involved with kids there?
Absolutely. So I was born in Jamaica, and I lived there until I was 8 years old.
And then you moved to Martha's Vineyard?
Moved to Nantucket.
Nantucket.
Yep.
One of those two Massachusetts towns.
They're up there.
So yeah, it means a lot. Obviously, graduating college, not being able to play every day, seeing things like this come together, where they're pulling a certain amount of Jamaican heritage players straight out of Jamaica that are in our end good enough to compete in a world championship game is pretty sweet to see. I mean, it means obviously the game's growing, and being able to give back to I coach lacrosse on the side right now for Sweet Lax, my dad's
program.
Yeah, my dad's program. So being able to give back and teach the younger generation is always pretty self-satisfying, and it's great to see where it's going, especially with hopefully once we are in Israel and compete and hopefully make a footprint there. Who knows where Jamaica lacrosse will go.
I mean, to me, that's a very exciting thing. The idea of being able to send your first national team to play in the World Championships and potentially, looking at your roster and what you put into it, see some success. Could that really drive the sport forward in Jamaica when it comes to not only having heritage players in the U.S., but also having a really strong homegrown league and presence and getting kids playing from the age of 8 years old or 9 years old? Does that seem like something that can really happen?
Yeah, I think Jamaica has a sporting culture from running to their football to you name it. And so to have a sport like lacrosse, which is so dynamic and fast, Jamaicans are known to be fast, it's picked up really quickly, and it's now in high schools, and I think that's the beginning. It's to really get it in high schools, get it down into the youth culture, and they're running with it.
Yeah, that's what got me into lacrosse when I was younger, just the speed of the game. And I'm sure that's what's attractive to a lot of young
right?
Jamaicans.
Yeah, you can throw the ball, and
Yep.
it's a very attractive sport.
Exactly.
You can run, use your legs, and that's
Speed kills, they say, right?
Yeah, exactly. Well, we probably need a little bit more of that. A lot of these college coaches kind of slowing it down.
Yeah.
Even our NESCAC guys with like 20 goals a game.
Yeah, we like the running guys.
Which is great, and you came from the run and gun program. But how has that impacted you two to be able to go back to your country of birth and kind of help those kids there and give them an opportunity that if you had stayed, you wouldn't have had at that time? What does that mean to you?
It means a lot. Like I said, to see, young kids growing up down there and, having a stick in their hand and really trying to, make something of themselves with the sport, it's pretty cool to see. And, hopefully someday I'll be sitting on my couch watching another Hakeem Lucky out there, or another Evan Redwood out there competing at the high Division I level. That's some young guy from Jamaica, and it would be I think it's great for the sport.
It'd be awesome.
Yeah, it'd be great.
Yeah, I mean, it's been fun. Now you see the high school league, right? And starting up, it seems mostly kind of centered around the St. George School, right?
Yeah, and Wilmer's.
Wilmer's, right? Mm-hmm. But I mean, what would that mean to you guys to see a high school lacrosse league really flourishing in Jamaica? I mean, on a personal level, like how kind of gratifying would that be?
I mean, it gives us chills every time we think about it. I mean, going back to what we were saying before, being part of the first Jamaican national team is enough within itself. I mean, thinking about it every day, like I said, it sends a chill down my spine, and it's cool to just see where the sport is growing. I can't say it enough. It's when I first started playing lacrosse back in high school. I mean, it was obviously a fast-growing sport then, but to see where it's actually taken off to just within those 5 years or so, it's pretty amazing, and it's cool to be a part of.
Absolutely. And you should have seen Massachusetts high school lacrosse when you were even my age.
Yeah.
Because it was a disaster.
Yeah, exactly.
It was ugly. Yeah. And we were not good. So that happened. You were good. No, not me. That's why I went D3, And Wesley was like dumpster fire back in the day. So
that's good.
Yeah. Now they're doing all right. It makes me look better and better.
It does.
They're like, you went to Wesley and you're good. I'm like,
not what you think.
Not me. Yeah. Exactly. So speaking of NESCAC, what do you think about Amherst changing their mascot from the Lord Jeffs to the Mammoth?
What do I think? It's funny you asked that. My girlfriend went to Williams. There are bitter rivals, as you know. And so they had a lot to say about us changing it. But I think it was the right move at current state of times. If someone is feeling disparaged, I think it's time to move on. I think our history will always be there. But and there are plenty of other good ideas. And I was actually fortunate enough to be part of the mascot search.
Oh, that's cool.
And it was a pretty in-depth and well thought out search.
Good.
We had something like 5,000 ideas, whittled down to 300, then whittled down to 40, whittled down to 5, and now we're the Amherst Mammoths now. And so it is a controversial topic still among alums and current students. Sure. But my personal opinion is I think it was the right choice, and we settled on something that's pretty cool. We have a woolly mammoth skeleton in our Natural History Museum.
Yeah.
And that's
which is amazing. Both Williams and Amherst, when you go, I mean, the museums on campus, right, for these 2,000 kids schools are unbelievable.
Yeah, they're pretty cool.
The Frick up at Williams, right? I mean, you're seeing like Dutch masters. Yeah. This little museum at a college. It really is kind of amazing.
Yeah, it's
talking about the NESCAC a little bit. What do you think about where that's going? I mean, you've got a really strong division of college lacrosse there, and I mean, between your top 4 to 5 teams, you've got actual national championship contenders.
Yeah, it's one of those leagues where you do well in the league, you're doing well nationally. Yep. Just so strong in that way, and it's also a testament to the league when a dominant team like Tufts, is so dominant, and then they aren't dominant for a few years. And there's a lot of good parity in the league. Yeah. Look at Wesleyan, look at Amherst, all of those schools, Bowdoin. Every year it could be anyone.
I mean, look at Bates last year.
And Bates too.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So it feels good to look back and see the way that league is just continuing to elevate itself in the national stage.
That's awesome. Mm-hmm. So both of you guys played very high-level NCAA lacrosse. What do you think you can bring as players and leaders through your actions to the Jamaica national team? Because, I've been part of a first-time team with Thailand in 2014, and building up a little bit of camaraderie and a team structure isn't that easy. No. So what kind of best practices are you guys taking from what you learned in college, from some of the great coaches you had, some amazing teammates you played with? Good things you learned, bad things you learned, and how do you kind of switch and make that Jamaican?
Yeah, the one thing I always remembered back in Syracuse when I was playing there, a lot of the alumni would always say it when they come back, play every day like it's your last day. And that really stuck with me because, you only have a certain amount of days, especially at the college level, to play. So you always want to go out there and, give it your all. And that's really what stuck with me the most. And, fortunately enough, being a part of this Jamaica Lacrosse Association, I do get to play again. So, we'll definitely have to continue that motto. And once we're over there competing, we're going to play like it's our last day.
That's awesome. And what do you think about that?
Yeah, I agree too, and I think you nailed it. It's not easy, and I think we've only recently really ramped up from things like getting the text threads together, email chains, people like Hakeem, myself, Rob Kelly, Shaq, who's over at East Coast Dies, stepping forward and as leaders and pulling guys to them. and a little bit of what Hakeem said, just like valuing it as the moment it is.
That's awesome. So what can people out there who want to help Jamaica Lacrosse make sure that your trip to Israel is not only successful, but successful moving forward for the country? What can they do to help? What can they do to get involved? You got T-shirts for sale?
Yeah, we got all kinds of stuff. We're here at LaxCon walking around. I got a duffel bag over there full of gear, beanies. We got Tomahawk sunglasses through Tomahawk. And all you need to do, JamaicaLacrosse2018.org. And we've got a pro shop there with all the gear we'll be wearing. And we'll be releasing stuff every so often. Did I leave anything out?
You guys have a GoFundMe page?
We do. We have a GoFundMe page that's on the .org as well.
People can access that through the website?
Absolutely. JamaicaLacrosse2018.com. .org, sorry.
JamaicaLacrosse2018.org. Head there now. Make a donation. Pick up some gear. This is like a no-brainer. I'm incredibly excited to watch you guys play. Are you gonna kind of have your own style of play? You think that you'll be very recognizable from some of the other slowdown teams, or?
Yeah, I think so for sure. I mean,
I don't want you to give too much.
Yeah, for sure.
We're gonna talk schemes.
I think we'll definitely shock some people for sure. We had tryouts over the summer, and the amount of solid players that came out from whatever schools, guys that I never even knew were out there. It was pretty impressive to see. And
how many guys did you have out for some of these bigger tryouts?
We had at least 70.
70, yeah.
70 guys.
70 high caliber.
Playing. 70, 80.
Non-college.
That's fantastic.
Pro,
yeah. So I mean, it was a pretty competitive tryout. And I think the guys that we picked to go over to Israel is definitely going to represent Jamaica in the right way. So
that's awesome. And finally, can you guys talk a little bit, because I think people who haven't been to Jamaica or haven't really learned about it that much, I don't think that they necessarily understand the quality of the diaspora there and what's going on and how many different kind of people have come together. And a big kind of message for the team seems to be one team, one love. It's about one nation coming together. I mean, can you explain to people a little bit about that?
Yeah, I think that's a good insight. I think a lot of people think Jamaicans are normally many Jamaicans immigrated from West Africa originally, but Jamaica is out of many one people. It's, native Jamaicans, Indian, Native American, not Native American, Native Jamaicans.
Like the Taino,
yes, Arawak natives there. You have a large Asian population. You have a large Eurasian population there, and you do have some African, Jamaican, Afro-Caribbeans there.
Sure.
So there it is, a nice cross-section of culture, and that's kind of what we mean by out of many one. And it's in the same thing translate into our team. We were a bunch of guys who came from all corners of college, high school, pro, didn't know each other, and we're starting to build that camaraderie. Hakeem and I, we always knew of each other, but we were not acquainted before, and now I'm on the calls with Hakeem a couple times a week, sometimes a couple times a day.
That's really cool. Kind of a chance, too, to make new friends.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, lacrosse has always helped me meet new people and make new friends, but I mean, do you find some of the guys in this team, you're like, you know what? I'm pretty sure I'm going to be lifelong friends with this guy years after my knees give out and I can't play anymore.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely, yeah. I think even back in college or back in high school when I went to a lot of lacrosse camps, lacrosse is just that type of sport. You're away and you're all having one goal in mind. And I remember I met some guys back in the day when I was in high school at a random college or a random tournament down in Miami, Maryland. A lot of those guys I still keep in touch with. I'll see them here. I ran into a few of them earlier at String King 10, and those are the guys that you always remember each other when you walk past. So it's cool.
That's awesome.
Lacrosse does that.
Yeah, I mean it really does. It's a small sport. It's a tight knit community, but it's so big. It's that weird middle area, and I love it. And I would love to see it really functioning down in Jamaica. Last thing I want to ask you guys: you've been down, you've seen it. Is it true that you walk around, Trenchtown, and you see people wearing lacrosse pennies regularly? I mean, I've seen photos.
Yeah.
But I'm
I think I'd love the chance to get down sometime soon, but we're certainly more tied in because of our involvement with the team than maybe some other people would be.
Yeah.
And it's because it's now in high schools, because clinics are being run, because colleges are going down there and instructing. They're getting resources. We had some generous donors send complete sticks down there for kids. It just helps them get involved. lacrosse, hockey, they can be an expensive sports.
Sure.
And in a place like that, those sorts of things go a long way. Those sorts of contributions.
That's very
But
cool.
you do see that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and there does seem to be, I think Kevin Dugan, again, is doing a lot of this, but the Jamaica Lacrosse Volunteers Corps, where people are going down, bringing down a bag of sticks and going to give for a week of service and training. I mean, how valuable is that? If people are looking for a way to get involved, maybe they're never going to be on the national team or they have no heritage to the country, but they do want to help. Do you think that's a viable path for people to come down and help grow the game?
Yeah, for sure. I think it's helped a lot in terms of growing the game. I hope that continues not just in Jamaica but all over the country and all over the world. So I think it definitely has a part in terms of where the game's going, and to see people like this just coming out of left field, donating things for the young ones and trying to get them involved is great. So hopefully it continues.
Great. Yeah, I mean, I know that the finances and the gear is obviously important.
Yep.
But something Jeremy Thompson said to me once has always stuck with me. He said the most valuable thing you can give a kid is your time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right, and actually spending time, and that's a very cool thing. And it seems like the Jamaica program is very focused on improving the lives of kids, spending time with them. That's very cool.
For sure.
So, props to you
Thanks for
guys for
having
doing
us.
what you're doing. This is great.
Yep. Thank
Best
you.
of luck in 2018.
Absolutely.
We are very excited. We'll be keeping an eye on you.
Absolutely.
Awesome.